Rachel Reeves says that she's not satisfied. Well, neither are we.
Am I satisfied with the numbers published today? Of course not. I want growth to be stronger, to come sooner, and also to be felt by families right across the country.
She constantly claims she wants to save for a better future for the UK, but in reality, the only thing she's saving is the truth about herself. Rachel Reeves, just like her Prime Minister, has always tried to hide her own flaws. Now, she absolutely deserves to resign. The public no longer wants any more liars in their government. Stay tuned for the shocking developments coming up. And don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated on all the latest political news from the UK.
She's our Chancellor. She claimed to be an economist, but the only thing in my view she was being economical with was with the truth. And that's to put it kindly. Some might call the adjustment that she made on her credentials a correction for something that simply wasn't true.
Rachel, the woman with questionable economic policies who is wrecking the country and causing suffering for farmers, business owners and ordinary workers, has lied on her CV. Rachel once claimed on her LinkedIn profile that she was an economist at the Bank of Scotland. However, this information has recently been altered, likely by her or someone from her team, clarifying that she actually worked in retail banking. Retail banking primarily provides financial services to individual customers and the general public, including processing payments, handling customer requests, and other administrative tasks. She may have worked at a counter in some branch of a bank. This type of job is more administrative than that of an economist, and the difference between these roles is obvious. Guido Fawkes, the political blog, criticised Rachel Reeves for falsely claiming to be an economist at the Bank of Scotland. In reality, she only held a more modest position in the bank's complaints department. This information has been confirmed by a source from the Treasury. Regarding her background, Rachel has worked in retail banking, overseeing various tasks, with an academic background in economics. Her LinkedIn profile has since been updated to accurately reflect her actual role. This might partially explain why she and her colleagues in government have proposed a budget that has been widely criticised for being ineffective, lacking a solid foundation, and not delivering any positive outcomes. This budget not only destroys any chances of growth, but also leaves behind consequences that anyone with experience in running a business could have easily predicted. Unfortunately, Rachel and her team seem unaware of this. One of the most concerning effects is the fear it's instilling in farmers about their futures, which threatens the UK's food security. While many independent schools are closing, the state sector is overwhelmed, and businesses are halting expansion due to rising taxes and minimum wages. Decisions like these could have severe consequences. Economics, politics, and philosophy are not just theoretical fields. They require deep knowledge and understanding. For those who study and work in these areas, some might feel more qualified to lead. This is why Rachel's decisions and actions in a leadership role have raised serious questions about her true capabilities. In terms of the actual situation, one noteworthy story today is the protest by a convoy of tractors outside the Labour Party conference in Wales. Meanwhile, inheritance tax issues on farms continue to stir debate. A conversation with a farmer would provide more insight into the impact of the new budget on the people and the agriculture sector. The big question remains, should Rachel resign? Does she truly deserve to be considered one of the worst prime ministers in history? And will the public soon turn against her? The budget Rachel proposed, while possibly reasonable from some perspectives, has faced strong opposition from banks. It seems the rise in interest rates is making many, particularly farmers, unhappy. The issue of food security, especially the inheritance tax on farms, is escalating tensions. If farmers are forced to deal with excessive inheritance tax, they may have to sell their land to cover the debt, which threatens the sustainability of farms and the national food security. The question is whether Rachel is aware of these risks. Perhaps she did not foresee the wide-reaching effects of this decision, and whether it truly represents a threat to food security. In fact, changes to inheritance tax and the decisions about taxes in this budget will need to be reconsidered to ensure they do not add further burden to the vulnerable in society. Although the budget remains controversial, it is clear that every decision must be carefully weighed. The money raised from inheritance taxes and other financial measures won't necessarily bring the expected benefits, and their impacts should be reassessed in the future. £500 million isn't, in reality, a huge amount. We've spent far more than this in the past. However, I can't be certain that this is the exact figure. So, can we really stick with this amount? Alright, to be fair, I think we should leave the LinkedIn changes story here and draw conclusions from what has happened. So, is this really a cause for concern? Will she change? We have to acknowledge that she once claimed to be an economist, but later moved to a job in retail banking. That's clearly a huge shift, isn't it? And that's exactly what Guido Fawkes pointed out, isn't it? However, I think people will understand if I'm a little hesitant to accept everything Guido Fawkes has said. Still, in this case, I accept the information he's provided. Now, let's hear from Gareth Wyn-Jones for his take on the situation. According to Gareth Wyn-Jones, this situation is truly mad. The amount raised by this budget simply isn't enough, and that could leave farmers and businesses unable to continue operating. If there is any real potential, parts of some farms may have to be sold to pay inheritance tax, but what do you think about this situation? Honestly, it's crazy. They've said this will affect around 20% of family farms. However, they've made a mistake in their calculations. It seems they're not very good with numbers. According to the latest information, this figure could actually affect around 70% of family farms. This is truly unbelievable. It will cause a disaster. The nation's food security is being seriously threatened. We need to protect family farms, and this decision could be a devastating blow to the industry and its future. Let me tell you, what they are doing is essentially taxing the poor because food inflation will push prices up by 20%. Yet, instead of using this money to address real issues, they've decided to use it to pay inheritance tax. This is truly mad. You say Rachel misled a few people in her relationships rather than making an intentional error, but honestly, we're in a desperate situation. An industry is struggling, kneeling under pressure from policies and other forces, including supermarkets trying to keep food prices reasonable. We are working hard to feed the entire country with food that is not only affordable, but also ensures nutritional quality for the people. And do you know what's happening? We're being pushed out, forgotten. We are always pushed out of the picture. Gareth once spoke at the NIFU conference and made a statement about protecting family farms. But right after that, the new budget was announced and the inheritance tax figures made us worry. Around 20% of family farms will face this. That is the final blow. It's truly a killer blow. The poor in society will no longer have access to quality food products. Those very products that farmers have spent generations producing to feed the people. This is truly frightening. Food security must be a top priority. Today, Keith Thomas was at San Daniel, and hundreds of us were there too. But he didn't dare to come out. He hid behind, like a rat. He didn't face the crowd. He didn't come out to talk to us. He fled back to London where he could hide, while hundreds of farmers stood there expressing their frustration and anger. We need to feed this country sustainably and ensure affordable prices. But this government is doing nothing. Although Keith Thomas may not protect himself, I believe he could take the time to talk to us. Because truly, making policies and not being willing to face the people who will be directly affected by those policies is simply unacceptable. What do people think about the issues we have discussed in today's video? Please leave your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to stay updated on the latest political developments in the UK. Thank you all and see you in the next videos.